I am helping you with this little chart. You can pick and choose, you don't need to watch through all of them. But let me introduce myself first.
Hi there, my name is Zsolt and I am a driving instructor since 2009. I'm going to talk about the highway roundabout in Birmingham because I guess that's the most nightmare for everybody in this city. Hopefully you will get some better clue how to use it. I still remember when I started my job, like I said, a long time ago, we didn't even have traffic lights in the highway roundabout, so that was even worse than this time, but still very, very confusing. So I'm going to clarify all of the options, all of the exits and entrance, and I hope you will be safe and confident to use it after this video. Thank you very much.
Before I'm going to start about the roundabout, please watch this video because the highway code changed, and before we get into the trouble, it's very important to know what's happening, what has changed. Look at the lady on the left hand side. She's approaching the road where I am going to turn left. Therefore, if she is waiting there, we need to treat the scenario like she is on the pedestrian zebra crossing. That means she has the priority, so therefore we have to stop and let her to cross. This is very, very important because previously the pedestrian had no priority only when they stepped on the surface, but nowadays if they are waiting on the road where you're turning into, the pedestrian has the priority. So please treat it like a zebra crossing for the pedestrian's sake and for your sake as well. Why we call this five-way roundabout? The reason simply because it has 5 exits. I'm not going to talk about the first and the second exit because that's basic, so I'm sure you know how to do it. First exit, you stay in the left hand side indicating on the approach and take the first exit. Second, you do the same without the indicator, you stay in the left hand side lane, and when you pass the first exit then you're indicating left. Simply you leave the roundabout like other roundabouts, so nothing different in first and second exit in 5-way roundabout. From Islington Row Middleway, when you are planning to turn right, very important is going to be the third exit. Make sure avoid the middle lane. If you end up in the middle lane, you're just making your life much harder. So stay in the right hand side lane and we're going to take the third exit. When the light is changing, I'm going to remain in the right hand side lane. Let's move into the roundabout. Look at the dotted line. So we need to stay alongside of the dotted line that leads us into the far right lane. But now your far right lane is spiraling out, is moving into the middle lane, so you don't need to indicate. And now we're leaving at the third exit, so you can indicate left and leave the roundabout in the third exit. So very important, just stay in your lane. From Islington Row Middleway, we're going to turn right. It's going to be the fourth exit towards to Broad Street. So very important, when you will see the 3 lanes, avoid the middle lane, stay in the far right, and then keep going in the far right. You're going to follow the dotted lines. Following the dotted line, you see it is clearly leading you into the far right lane. But here, very soon, your far right, you don't need to indicate here, far right becomes the middle lane, so stay in the middle lane, don't change, don't move, don't indicate. Still bearing right behind the black car, because you can either leave here to the Ladywood Middleway and you can also leave towards the Broad Street. So your far right lane on the approach spiraled out to the left hand side lane and it's easy to leave towards to the Broad Street. So make sure you stay in the far right on the approach and leave in the left hand side and stay in the middle of your lane. From Islington Road Middleway, we are going to make a U-turn. It's going to be the 5th exit. So on the approach, very important, make sure you stay in the far right and then keep going. When the light is changing, you stick into the far right lane and following the dotted lines. So very important, don't change your lane, don't move. You don't need to even indicate here. You can just stay in the right hand side lane and keep going, follow the dotted lines. Now, as your line is spiraling out into the middle lane, again, don't indicate, just stay in your lane and proceed because you have 2 choices, left or right, so you can stay in the right hand side lane and then keep going in the left hand side lane from here. Don't need to indicate because you could confuse the others. So we keep going, we're not leaving on the Broad Street. and then we're leaving at the next exit, so it's the 5th exit. Again, you don't need to indicate because your lane designated for you, painted, so without indicator, just leave the roundabout. Here, very important, make sure you stay in the left-hand side lane. Don't drift to the middle lane because you could just confuse the others and yourself as well. From Harborne Road, we are going to turn right, is going to be the 3rd exit. So when you're approaching to this roundabout, you will see I need to stay in the right-hand side lane. And when it's safe to do so, we're continuing, and look at the dotted line. It is leading you on the left-hand side, leading you into the middle lane. So be careful here because people, they're not keeping their lane. So your right lane moved into the middle lane. Legally, you follow the dotted lines. Here, your lane is splitting. So you don't need to indicate here, just bear right, and then we're going to leave on the broad street. So you can indicate here and make sure as you're leaving, avoid the bus lane. From Harborne Road, we are going to turn right, is going to be the 4th exit. As we are approaching, we need to be in the right-hand side lane and stay in the right-hand side lane. When it's safe to do so, we continuing, and as you will see the dotted line on the left-hand side leading you into the middle lane. So careful here because other drivers, they might not aware of the lane discipline. So now you stay in the middle lane without indicator, just continuing straight on. Very soon your lane will split, so you don't need to leave the roundabout yet. You don't need to indicate here. Just stay in the right-hand side lane, follow the curb without any indicator, and still follow your lane. Don't leave again, your lane splits. Just stay in the right-hand side out of these two. And now we are in the left-hand side lane, and then we are leaving at the next exit. Again, you don't need to indicate here because your lane designated for you. Make sure when you're leaving here, stay in the left-hand side lane. Don't confuse yourself, neither the others. From Harborne Road, we are going to make a U-turn, 5th exit. As we are approaching, we need to be in the right-hand side lane. And then when you continuing, when you proceed, make sure here you keep into the far right. So you move into the far right lane. When the light is changing, we continuing, and then we bearing right. Just keep in the middle lane. Okay, so your lane discipline is crucially important. Stay in your middle lane between the two lines. Do not need to indicate because you can confuse the others. Just stick to your lane. So we're staying in this lane. It splits. As it splits, stay in the right-hand side lane towards the red light. And now you can start indicate left, and you're leaving the left-hand side lane. So as you can see, your far right lane spiraling out. So pay attention and stay in the left-hand side lane as you're leaving the roundabout here. From the Hagley Road, we are going to take the 3rd exit. At this roundabout, on this approach, you need to stay in the left-hand side lane for being able to take the 3rd exit. So the light changed. We stick to the left-hand side lane, no indicator. This is the 1st exit. We're bearing left, following the shape of the curb. No indicator. Your lane splits. Stay in the right-hand side lane. And we pass the broad street, and we're leaving at the next exit. So we're leaving at the 3rd exit here. Very important, as you're leaving, remain in the left-hand side lane. Don't confuse the others, neither yourself, so stick to the left-hand side lane. From the Hagley Road, we are going to take the 4th exit. Very important, as you're approaching, stay in the right-hand side lane. And then, as we entering, I will leave you a little bit of space so you can see the road markings. So as you're entering, look on the left-hand side, we will following the dotted line which leads you into the middle lane. So from the far right, you're not going to the far right on the approach, you are staying in the middle lane following the dotted line. Now you stick to the middle lane, no need to indicate because you could just confuse yourself and the others. Stick to the middle lane, keep going in your middle lane, and very soon your lane will split. As it does, don't leave the roundabout yet. bear right, stay in left hand side next to the curb and leave the roundabout. You can indicate left now and everybody is safe. Make sure you stick to the left hand side lane. From the Hagley Road we are going to make a U-turn, which is going to be the 5th exit. As we are approaching to the roundabout, we need to stay in the right hand side lane. We have a little bit of rain between recordings, so that's absolutely fine. As we enter into the roundabout from the right hand side lane, this occasion we must make sure we're going to the far right inside of the roundabout and we're following the shape of the curb in the right hand side. So just keep going in the right hand side lane. You see now we're moving into the far right. Camera is a little bit off, but don't worry, you will see very soon what I mean. So stay in the far right, but now you will see your lane spiraling out. It becomes the middle lane, so keep going. Again, no indicator. Your lane splits. Just stay in the left hand side lane. Now you can start indicate left, and we're leaving at the next exit by the Morrisons on the 5th exit as a U-turn in the Hagley Road. From Ladywood Middleway, we are going to make a 3rd exit right turn. As we are approaching to the roundabout, very important, stay in the far right. Always avoid the middle lane because it gives you just extra confusion. So stay in the right hand side lane, and as we're moving into the roundabout, look at the road markings. So we're following the dotted line which is leading us into the far right. So we stay in the far right lane. You don't need to indicate here because you could just confuse the others, because your lane is going to spiraling out. Now your lane became the middle lane, and now we are going to leave at the next exit. So here indicate left and leave in the right hand side lane. From Ladywood Middleway, we're going to take the 4th exit, so we're going to go down to the Hagley Road. We're approaching in the right hand side lane. You don't need to do anything, just follow the dotted line, stay in the right hand side lane. As you see, we're bearing right, so camera is a little bit up, but don't worry about it. Now your lane is spiraling out. The middle lane, so keep going. This occasion we're not leaving the roundabout here, your lane splits. So stay in the left hand side lane, and now we can indicate left and we leave the roundabout towards the Morrisons. Simple, make sure stay in your lane, stay between the lines, because the lane discipline is crucially important. From Ladywood Middleway, we are going to make a U-turn, which is going to be the 5th exit. So this occasion we need to stay in the right hand side lane as we are approaching. Make sure you stick to the right hand side lane. When we enter into the roundabout, we are moving into the far right, and we keep going into the far right even when it's going to split once. So make sure at the moment you stay in the right hand side lane. Keep going, stay in your lane. And now we need to move one more lane to the far right. So no need to indicate because you're just confusing the others. So now your far right becomes the middle lane, so spiraling out, and we're not leaving yet. Staying in the left hand side lane as it splits, and we're going to leave at the next exit. So we were managing to make a U-turn. So we're leaving in the next exit, so you can indicate left. Very important, lane discipline. Make sure stay between the dotted lines or between the proper lines, and then you won't be in trouble. If you're following my advice, it leads you to the correct exit. From Broad Street, we are going to turn right. Is going to be the 3rd exit. As we are approaching, we need to stay in the right hand side lane, very important. And then when we are entering to the roundabout, look at the dotted lines on the left hand side. So it leads us, it takes us into the middle lane. So very important, just keep your eyes on the others because sometimes they're not keeping the lane. So when we're moving in, look, you're following the dotted lines. So your far right becomes here the middle lane. No indicator required because you can just confuse the others. So stick to this lane. And then as your lane splits, we're not leaving the roundabout. As it splits, we're bearing right in terms of the two lanes, and that means you are leaving the roundabout at the next exit. Now you can indicate because you're not confusing anybody. So we managed to take the third exit towards to the Morrisons from the Broad Street. From Broad Street, we are going to turn right. It's going to be the fourth exit. Very important, as we are approaching, we need to stay in the right hand side lane. And then when we're proceeding, make sure you move into the far right, next to the curb on the right hand side. Stay next to the curb on the right hand side and keep going. No need to indicate because very soon your lane will split, so you could confuse the others. Here your far right lane becomes the middle lane. No need to follow anymore the curb, just bear right following the road, and as the road widens here we stay in the right hand side lane. And then we're leaving on the next exit, which is going to be the Ladywood Middleway. Here we go, easy. From Broad Street we are going to make a U-turn, will be the fifth exit. As we are approaching to the roundabout, very important, stay in the right hand side lane, and then when we enter into the roundabout, we need to positioning ourselves next to the curb on the right hand side, so we stay in the inside the far right lane in the roundabout. And then we will be proceeding in the right hand side lane, continuing in the right. So we move into the right, you don't need to indicate. Here we're moving one more lane to the far right. But from here we stay in the middle lane. No need to indicate because now you are in the middle lane, but very soon this lane will split for two. As it does, we're not going to leave the roundabout yet, but very important, stay alongside of the line on the right hand side. I'll give you a little bit of space to see. And then your lane becomes here the left hand side lane, and you can indicate now left, and then you're just simply leaving the Broad Street. That's the U-turn made on the Broad Street. Very important, as you can see, there is a bus lane, so make sure you're avoiding the bus lane, stay in the right hand side lane.
So that was all, and I hope you had better clues now about how to use that horrible roundabout, because sometimes we can't really avoiding